Hi, I'm DJ Ware. On this episode of the CyberGizmo, we're going to be taking a look at Ubuntu 19.10 for the desktop right after this. I'm going to be using Zen 8 today to do this install, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new VM for this. I'm going to put it on prod 1, and we'll need a template, and probably the closest one is going to be 1804, and that's fine. For today, it won't matter. Hopefully Zen will catch up. They normally just list the LTS releases, so there probably won't be anything new in this list until 2004 comes out. Let's give it a name. And this will say test VM. We'll need, no, let's not do that. Okay, so we're going to give it 4 gig of RAM. I need to tell it what ISO to use. Scan down through the list, and that's the one we want. And we'll need a 25 gigabyte disk. I think we're all good to go. Yeah, we're good. Go ahead and create this. Let me get rid of all that. I'll expand this window, but I just want to see where it's going to float to first before I do that. We can make this a little bit bigger. And yeah, that's probably as good as it's going to get for this. I have absolutely given up on VirtualBox. It just doesn't work. Okay. So then it asks me if I want to install or try. We'll do the install. It's asking me if I want to do a normal or a minimal web browser basic utilities. Do I want the games? I guess that's okay. And then we'll download the updates too while it's installing. And we'll go ahead and continue. Now, one of the things I'm interested in is that, yeah, you have all the normal stuff up here to encrypt or use LVM. There's this new entry for experimental, erase the disk and use ZFS. But one of the things I'd like to know is what are the options if I do a custom install? What's available to me? So let's do a new partition and let's just see if ZFS is in the list. And so our choices are ext4, 3, 2, ButterFS. Nope, I don't see a ZFS in this list. So it looks like we're out of luck trying to do a custom install of ZFS. So for right now, the only choice is this, and warning, this will delete all your files. You may cause data loss, hair loss, and also, yeah, whatever. So let's go. Let's go. Are you sufficiently scared? Yeah, don't use experimental stuff in production. That's really the rule. That would probably end up bad. Okay, so I got to enter my ID, and I'm gonna, I don't know, let's call it Elon. And we'll go ahead and get going here. And it's copying files. This is going to take well, Ubuntu usually takes about 5 minutes or so to install. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll come back when it has finished. Okay, so it has finished. And while you were away, I made the window just a little bit bigger. So hopefully It'll make it a little easier for you to see. So we'll go ahead and do a restart. I don't know how long this is going to take to actually do the restart, but we'll find out. I don't know if it'll eject the disk, but I have it right there if I have to. If I need to eject it, I can. Usually Ubuntu is pretty good about ignoring the CD-ROM, at least in the boot order, so this should come up from the hard drive. Famous last words. I don't want to pause this part because this is, yeah, it isn't going to take that long to do. Of course, running across the network is going to be slower, redrawn, because this is a video stream that it's showing here. Okay, so, while I am also capturing the video. No, I don't think I need that. No, I don't need to send my data to Canonical. That's good. That's off. I'm ready to go. Okay, good for me. So there is the basic desktop as it stands. I could give this a little bit more real estate, but let's just dive in and see what we got. First thing I want to do is make this a little bit bigger so that you all can see it better. Yeah, let's go up one more. And then I can see it better too. Well, not quite that blind, but let's see. First of all, we want to find out, yes, we're under 5.3. And the other thing I want to find out is I'm interested in the Z pool, but before we do that, let's do a ls block and see how many snap packages it installed. Now you'll notice there's all these loops here. This is how snap does basically a partition to protect the application and protect you from any kind of mischief. So it's basically a jail, if you will, in order to prevent leakage. I don't know if this is I don't think this is probably the best way to do it, but the way Snap does it. So it didn't install a lot of Snap packages. Core 18, GNOME 328. And then GNOME calculator. No, it's not supposed to be 328. That could be a bug. GNOME logs, GTK common themes, and media, of course, is in the drive down here. And it looks like it also created a partition for grub. That would be a normal partition, and we can find out what kind that is. And then a swap file. And then I assume these other partitions are for the ZFS. But we will look. We'll look at the FS tab. I'm sorry, I say things the way I learned them in Unix. The Linux guys prefer to say fstab. I've just never picked that up. It's hard to undo what you've learned 20 years ago. Because it's FS tab because it's file system table is what it stands for. So we do have a boot partition. It's an ext4. And then, of course, a swap partition that was created as well. So, I guess grub can't handle. Oh, my goodness. That's all whoa, look at all of this. So there's a better way to do this. So let's do it this way. Let's do it. First, I want to do this first. cpool status. See what we got here. So it looks like it was formatted in legacy format, and that means that some features are not going to be available, unfortunately. I don't know what those are yet, but it did create two pools. There's a B pool and R pool. Now remember, this is only using a single disk. I did try this earlier with 2 drives. It ignored it. It just took the first drive and left the other one for me to format. So at this point, it doesn't look like I can do things like mirroring or RAID or any of that kind of stuff with the operating system. So they're claiming that this is booting the operating system. It certainly is. The kernel is booting from ZFS, but of course, Grub probably doesn't understand ZFS. And so at least maybe the version they're running doesn't. I don't know if I don't know that much about Grub, to be honest about it. I just use it. It works, and that's as far as I go with it. If I need to go in and change parameters on it to get an NVIDIA card to work, I'll do that. But other than that, I don't spend a whole lot of time with it. But we have 2 pools, and then we can do a list on all of the. Oh wow! Looks like they have mapped every single directory onto the root tree to yeah. So let's just, I guess that's okay. So they're I wouldn't do that, but they did, and that's fine. I don't get a choice because I didn't get a chance to set the parameters I want. They did create a user data down here and then put the home directories for me and root in it. That's good. That's good. I like that part. The other thing I want to know is what settings do they have turned on? What options do they have turned on? And for that, we do a get all. And let's start with B pool first. So it doesn't look like we're using any compression on the boot. That's probably a wise idea. I wouldn't necessarily use that either. You don't want extra time being spent to uncompress while you're trying to boot the system. And there's the Form D normalization, so that's legacy. I think that's legacy. If you know different, like I said before in my last video on ZFS, I am not a ZFS expert by any stretch of the means. I have been using ZFS for a little over 2 years, just about 2 years, but I just use it to store data and videos. So, and it works great. I just love ZFS. Encryption is off. We're not doing anything particularly wild and woolly with the. If I go back up here to the primary and secondary cache, nothing other than the default settings. Let's go look at our pool. I go, what? Nope, don't think so. So the first thing I notice is that we do have compression turned on, and 128 mount point / this is all the stuff you can change here, but this you can't. This is information collected from the pool itself. And we're using LZ4, and that's fine. Form D again, case sensitive, okay. Nothing fancy going on. No fancy footwork with the cache. Again, it's all set to all, and encryption is turned off. You can see right here. So it's I would say this is a fairly, with the exception of how many drive mappings they made, but it's a fairly generic way to install ZFS. Now, I'd like to come back and maybe do some tests with this, really try to stress it, do some snapshots, do some rsyncs, and try to get it over to my BSD server and see if it can see that. The reason I don't say FreeNAS is because I don't run FreeNAS. I run a BSD server with the ZFS on it. So I'll try that, try to figure out how well this is going to work for a ZFS pool. I mean, I know it's experimental. I'm probably going to break stuff. It'll probably blow up the file system, and that's fine. I'm used to that. So let's clear this off. So the other thing that I wanted to look at was Tom over at Switch to Linux found an instance where if you install Chromium through APT, you get a snap package installed. Wow. So that means that Canonical has started to play games with the base software from Debian. I don't know if Debian's picking up on that, but I'm not a fan of that idea. But I thought I would do a check. So I'm going to do a search, and what he installed was this. So let's look for the Chromium browser. And sure enough, it is a snap. So what I did earlier is I went through, I did this. And then I painstakingly did a search for snap. And the only ones I find, now I did it also for snap as well, but of course it's going to come back with all the utilities for snap. But those are the only ones I found that actually installed. So that could be a bug. It could be a mistake. Somebody may have put this in the wrong place. Don't know if they were this, but I will say this. One of the other things I did was I went over here, is looked at the sources list. Now I see the normal things here like main restricted. I see the updates for main restricted. I see the EON universe and E1 updates universe. Let's see what else we got here. We got multiverse. We've got backports. Security, security universe, security multiverse, and that's it. So if I do the same thing that Tom did, this is what he saw. Is it the APT started to look at this, bounced out, and went to the Snap store. That's a change to the APT. It has to be. There's nothing that's redirecting that search in the APT directory. So maybe that is their intention, that they're intending to install Snap with mixed in with the normal RPM and D packages. Not a fan. Not a fan of that. I agree with Tom. That's not good. Don't want that. So here's my suggestion, Canonical. Give us an option to turn this junk off if we don't want it. Give us an option to just deinstall Snap, take it out. Let us opt in rather than have. It would be even better rather than having to opt out of it, because first there's a lot of issues that with Snap, and most of them have to do with security. So I don't want to go there. It won't get me to cut over to use this release. I'll tell you that right now. Now for servers, now in the past, what I have done with servers is I've just gone ahead and installed Snap and removed its directory. So I don't know if that's still possible. This is the first time I've looked at this. I didn't bother with it during the beta. I don't look at stuff during the beta unless I'm testing, and I wasn't a tester. So I wasn't really too interested in doing much with the beta. So we have, let's take a look at some of these apps. This looks like additional drivers. Yeah, and there's probably not going to be a lot, if any, unless you're doing a pass-through on the hardware, which I'm not yet. And live patch, of course, probably won't work on this. Live patch only works for LTS generally. But we'll check, see if that's still true. Yep, that's still true. LTS systems right here. So we can go ahead and get out of that. Developer options, pre-release updates. Okay, so this is just affecting how and what gets updated. And then free and open source devices, copyright. Again, there's nothing in here that allows me to turn on or off. And Canonical, you need this. You need to do this. So So I've said that enough, I think. Beat that horse to death. So I'm assuming that this will also be a mix like it was before. Those are proprietary. All three of those are proprietary, so I'm betting those are probably snaps. And sure enough, they are. This is proprietary software. I think they actually even charge for it. So you're probably going to get hit with a licensing request if you installed that one. That also is snaps, as you can see. Skype is Microsoft. And let's see, what else we got? So one of the other things that I'm interested in is Pipewire. I don't know if it's installed by default. We'll find out. It's all the comm software. Productivity. Good old tech. Yeah, I wonder if that's GNOME. So that should be. Yeah, I apologize. I say GNOME, not GNOME. I say GNOME. That's the way I learned it, and that's the way people, what they called it originally. I know there's a lot of people that are trying to follow the Richard Stallman joke, but I just call it GNOME. If you look at the footprint of their logo, that's a GNOME, not a GNOME. I don't know what a GNOME is. But anyway, that's what I go by. as long as they have that logo with the footprint, that's a GNOME. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to find out was if Pipewire is installed, and so far I don't see it anywhere here. I don't suppose the audio would tell me, would it? No. So let's do this. Let's get out of this. Let's go back into terminal window. Oh, I just noticed that it did it again. So it was in this list and then it disappeared. Let's see if it'll find it. Yeah, there it is. That looks like a bug. So let's do a list on Pipewire. Oops, got a telegram. Might help to tell it what I wanted to search. What I used to search. No, it's not there. So I'm assuming that we're probably using the default, which is Pulse Audio. Yeah. So from what I understand from reading on the wiki for Pipewire, is they do support they do support jacks as well as Pulse Audio. I don't know how that's going to work because jacks, if it sees Pulse Audio running, it'll stop it, and then jacks kind of takes over. I don't know what kind of war that's going to cause when Pipewire is in here, but let's see if it's in the repository. I just don't know. So that's something I also want to play with, and probably something to come back with, and see just how it actually works. So, Pipewire, of course, was written by the author of GStreamer, and he's a very intelligent person, very smart guy. He has complained for years about jacks. And, you know, jacks is if you are an audio engineer and you're used to patch bay panels, jacks you're gonna feel right at home. But if you're not an audio engineer, you're not used to patch panels. First of all, I don't know why why that model was chosen to emulate for audio for jacks. Audio engineers, if they're going to use patch panels, they're external. They come in with one wire when they're all done patching their equipment in. And what patch bay panels are used for is that the input chain. So you have an input chain between the microphone or the guitar pickups or the amplifier or the mics on the amplifier. But then they go into either a hardware compressor, a hardware equalizer, a hardware delay or any number of devices, and they put that through a chain and use the patch panel to do that. So it makes it easier for them to wire things up in the order that they want them in before that signal will rise. But in the software world, I don't understand why you would want to emulate that. I've never understood that about Jackson. It's lost on me. I've done, well, anyway, I'm not going to go there. That's old ancient history. It's working in audio for a long time. But let's go back to this. So Pipewire is not installed. That's something I want to do for sure. Let's go look at some other stuff. So this looks like Nautilus. And this says 334. Okay. I didn't check to see what version of GNOME we were running under, but I know there's a way to do that. I don't run GNOME. So if I get lost in here, please forgive me. I don't know. I don't know where to find it. I guess I could do it the old-fashioned way, is we'll take a terminal window and we'll open up and see which one it is. I know there's a way to do this on the shorthand, but, I just don't use GNOME. So what are you going to do? 334. Okay. I think that's what it's supposed to be. I don't know why it was saying 328 earlier on that other package. That's weird. But let's see. We looked at this. Let's look at LibreOffice as the last thing for today. See what version they're actually running. 632. That's the latest one that I know of as of this video. I got to be careful because as of this date, October the 17th, that is the most current one. Somebody will come back in 3 months and go, no, it isn't. But yeah, that's the current one. So I hope you enjoyed this today. And I think I have my work cut out for me. There's quite a bit of this. I'd like to experiment with it. So I'm going to have to put this on a actual piece of hardware, because I'll insert it into the audio chain and I'll stick it with OBS and we'll find out just what kind of chaos Pipewire and Jax and Pulse Audio create when you try to use it. Now I'll probably just use the Pipewire to start with. I know that Pipewire is still actively in development, so to be fair, it won't be a harsh review. It's just a test to see what it's all about and how it actually works. From what I've read, that is definitely the right track, and kudos to the team that's working on that. I just think that's really great. So I'm gonna get out of here, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you did, please like and subscribe as always. See you next time. Bye for now.